The league office is now in session. Welcome to the Fantasy Sports Concierge Podcast. We talk about sports, fantasy sports, all other good stuff. Check us out on all the socials, our website, fsconcierge.com. I'm Avery, here with PJ and Nick, my fellow front office members. We're today going to talk about early training camp news, updates, standout players, lots of fun stuff. Nick might rant a little bit. He's in a very ranty mood lately. Nick, look at his
fired up.
You see how his face turned to the camera right away? It was very. He's like, "Yeah, I am," but don't.
He almost went off there. Yeah.
You say something?
I'm so surprised. Yeah, there we go. Here's the first words from Nick. Let me hear it. I think the first. Do you want to throw out the first? What's on the top of your mind right now, Nick? What is the most important fantasy football news? Anything that you can think of? Enlighten the world.
My guy lighting up training camp, Omarion Hampton, most improved player on the offense is what they're saying. Big year for Omarion Hampton this year. Big year.
I'm just so behind the scenes before the pod. Nick teased us with, I got a really great take, and you guys, it's gonna be very. We stopped him from telling us the take because I was like, save it for the pod. Like, let us react naturally. I hope that wasn't it.
That wasn't it.
Okay, good. Please, thank you very much.
You said my favorite.
Love Omarion.
That's fair.
Fair.
You said my favorite.
I'm not saying it had to be. I'm just glad that wasn't it because that's a basic bitch take. I mean, I'm not saying I don't like Omarion Hampton. I think he's way too overhyped right now, and people are going crazy. But everybody loves Omarion Hampton.
Yeah, you need to be talking about Keaton Mitchell. And
I was gonna say the real news out of Chargers camp is Keaton Mitchell getting a saddle on that number 2 spot. He's gonna get 140, 150 targets, not targets, but opportunities this year. He's the man. Keaton Mitchell's looking good. He's looking fast. He's the most explosive person in the NFL.
As a handcuff?
And he fits in McDaniel's offense very well.
As a handcuff?
As a handcuff and as a guy who can just contribute in your flex spot because he is that explosive. And you could give him like 5 to 8 touches a game for Keaton Mitchell is like 70 yards at a touch. And if your league has bonuses for 40-yard plays, even better.
What we're saying here, Nick, is that Omarion Hampton is going to have touches taken away from him as we're seeing in training camp right now. Not as much as you think they're going to get.
In training camp right now, they're saying that Omarion's the most improved player on the entire offense.
No, they're not. They're saying Keaton Mitchell is.
Yeah.
All right,
they're saying he's one of the biggest risers in the NFL right now in terms of their training camp production.
And I called it. I've been said to look out for Keaton Mitchell. Keaton Mitchell is a guy to keep an eye on. Him. And the thing is, Omarion Hampton could be a top 5 running back this year. I am not denying that. I'm just saying. Keaton Mitchell.
So then if Omarion Hampton's top 5, what's Keaton Mitchell? It's not. He's pointless.
We're saying that you're overhyping him as being the best running back in the league this year, and we're saying
Mike
that
McDaniel
right now
said,
in training camp that they're taking touches.
Mike McDaniel said, quote, that he's shown the most growth of anybody on the offense. Nobody wants to tackle that guy. So,
okay, we're not saying he's not gonna be great.
Keaton Mitchell isn't outperforming Omarion Hampton in camp. Omarion Hampton was drafted to be the bell cow. Just because Mike McDaniel came in, you guys act like he's not capable of running the ball in that offense, and that's
we're not
crazy.
Saying that at all. We're saying that he's going to have touches taken away from him more than you're saying. And the reality is,
touches taken away from him, but the running back one in Mike McDaniel's offenses have always been successful, right?
We're not saying he's not going to be successful,
right?
He's going to be.
No one's saying that.
Why Keaton Mitchell? He's one of the best handcuffs.
Because they're using him in training camp. That's showing they have a defined role for him.
Right.
He's going to be a part of their offensive.
Because they're going to be one of the most run-heavy offenses in the league, and they're going to use him as like a gadget player. More
than a gadget player. I'd say gadget player is like an insult for somebody.
Okay, but let me ask you this. Omarion Hampton plays a full season, right? What's the value of Keaton Mitchell?
His value, I mean, Keaton Mitchell could be a top 40 running back with that. Like he could get there are 150 touches for Keaton Mitchell if Omarion Hampton is a RB1. There are still 150 touches for Keaton Mitchell there.
Yeah, so he's can we say he's the best handcuffed
I can tell you he's better than Blake Corum. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah,
You've been on the Blake Corum bus. I haven't heard anything about him yet in camp. I haven't heard one word about him taking any spot or any carries or anything.
I did watch a clip the other day that basically verbatim said what Nick was going to say, that by the 4th week, Corum's going to be the starter there. And so I went right to the comments on this one. And let's just say the public does not agree with you.
Damn.
That's good. That's a good place to be at.
It is.
The public's always wrong.
Well, I don't think that's... Well, the public likes Omarion Hampton.
And they don't like to disrespect the Kyron Williams either.
The problem is the public is not always wrong because the public likes Omarion Hampton, so you can't say that.
But that's an obvious one. When you're talking about these, like,
okay,
game changers, right. The public doesn't know what they're talking about.
Oh, really? Are you not a part of the public? What is your what university you live in? Well, all right. Stefon Diggs signing with the Commanders. You guys think that's PJ? You think that's going to could he be a wide receiver too? I think his wide receiver 1 days are over. I think we're all kind of not that.
Yeah,
I like
for
Stefon
sure.
Diggs, do you think he could be a startable wide receiver too? Like as soon as the season begins through the season?
Yeah, I do. I think that Washington throws the ball enough where, let's say he gets like a 20% target share, he's probably going to be seeing about 110, 120 targets. However, that he's still in a pretty crowded wide receiver room in terms of how they're going to spread the ball around. But things are looking up for him here. I mean, McLaren is still the clear-cut number 1 there. And so he's going to be seeing the cornerback twos. He's probably going to be seeing more zone coverage, maybe fewer bracket coverages, which is pretty ideal for a veteran, especially a veteran route runners. So I think right now, like, he's sitting kind of in a good spot where you can kind of take a look at his upside being that he gets like, I don't know, 130 targets,
that's
maybe 90 catches. Yeah, I'm saying that's so. If I looked back at what Jaden Daniels did, which is really the best blueprint that I could look at and what their passing game is going to be like this year in terms of how much they throw the ball. He threw the ball 525 times, and I would assume that they're probably not going to run the ball with him as much as they did his rookie year. So I'm basically just kind of taking a percentage on this one. And do you think Stefon Diggs takes 20% of the target share?
Yeah, that sounds like a fair amount to me.
So 130 would be the boom on that one, and the low ceiling really is 100, 110.
Yeah, 20% of 550 attempts would be 110 targets. I think Terry McLaurin's probably going to get 140, 150, and I think 110 is about where he'll be. I also think, I was going to say one of my first comments is the Commanders are going to go under center more this year, they said. But now that I think about all the offenses in the NFL, not all, but like a substantial amount, what you hear about them this offseason, like the trend is, we're going to go under center more. Like that's everybody's thing.
Yeah.
The Bengals are saying it about Joe Burrow. The Commanders are saying it about Jaden Daniels. The Eagles are saying it about Jalen Hurts. There's probably some more that I'm just not thinking off the top of my head, but like, it's a gimmick. Is that a gimmick that the coaches are talking about? I mean, I think it'll help. I mean, also the Commanders' defense is trash, so there's going to be plenty of passing. They're not going to win a bunch of 10-3 games or anything. Like they're going to be giving up 3 touchdowns. So if they're going to do anything, they're going to have to be throwing the ball. They're going to score a lot. Well, I don't know if they score a lot because their offensive line is a little average. But Stefon Diggs, I do think Nick, would you rather have Stefon Diggs or Alec Pierce? This is assuming Alec Pierce starts the season healthy.
I'd rather have Alec Pierce. I don't think they're going to ask Stefon to have his type of volume. He's going to be their wide receiver 2 in Washington versus Alec Pierce he got paid to be their number 1. I mean, he's in a much better situation. I'd rather be in Washington's offense than I would rather be in having Daniel Jones throw me the ball. But yeah, I would take Alec Pierce.
Depends on what Daniel Jones we're seeing, this year as well. if we
Terry
see last year
McLaurin's their
Daniel
one.
Jones. Mm-hmm.
Alec Pierce last
Easily.
year only had 84 targets, and he only had 47 catches. So I think
but Michael
Stefon
Pittman was their one.
Definitely, but I also like Alec Pierce. I think if he has like the high side for Alec Pierce is 100 targets, like 105. I mean, he's not that kind of receiver who gets a bunch.
I think
he's
right around Stefon Diggs probably this year in what he gets in his target share.
I think Diggs will get more because the Colts are going to run the ball more.
He only put 15 in. He only played 15 games last year, so that's why he had the 80-something targets, and now he's got a whole.
That's his career high.
Well, yeah, I know,
84 targets.
That was in.
So he's never been that guy,
right?
He
but
played
now
16 games the year before. He had 69. I mean, that's a projection. I'm not saying you're wrong to think that now he is, but that's a projection. We know Stefon Diggs is that guy. Stefon Diggs is going to get 110 targets, or he's going to complain and become a problem. Alec Pierce, I mean, Josh Downs is looking good. I'm talking about good camp stories. He's getting a lot of camp praise from Colts beat writers. He's somebody that I've liked Josh Downs, and I'm salty that this past weekend in our draft I didn't get him. I'd love to have Josh Downs, but I think what if he's the possession receiver? He becomes the Michael Pittman, and Alec Pierce stays as the guy who takes the top off the defense and gets 90 targets. I think that Alec Pierce, I mean, that would be very touchdown dependent. So they're still kind of on the same tier of player. I'm not saying it's like a blowout Stefon Diggs, but I would probably rather have Diggs than Alec Pierce.
So they're both kind of the same guys. They're both going to be the downfield threats for each team. So, I mean, if you're going to weigh who's a better downfield thrower, it's going to be Jaden Daniels over Daniel Jones.
I'm also but my thing on Stefon Diggs, the 100 target thing, I see it as being a possibility for sure, but I don't think it's like cut in stone. There was only 6 teams last year that had 2 receivers on their team have 100 targets. Him and Romeo Doubs were one of them over there in New England, and it's not far off to say with Jaden Daniels throwing the ball that them two will be another duo this year that has 100 targets, right? But yeah, I would just put more into the wide receiver one on the Colts than I would on Stefon Diggs.
Wide receiver two, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think he's going to be this big touchdown threat. Like, I mean, he's going to get his here, but I don't think it's going to be like something crazy.
McLaurin's still the red zone guy too.
Yeah, I'd like to think Terry's going to have a really big year. That's going to be his year. If anything, Stefon Diggs is going to improve the year that Terry's going to be able to have.
And De'Ami Brown's pretty good as well. I mean, he's not a slouch.
Stefon Diggs is the kind of guy. I mean, like he's he's awesome. You got to build chemistry with him. I feel like he's coming in late. Jaden has chemistry with the other guy, and Diggs is going to be, he's going to get his, but I just don't think he's going to be like Diggs of old.
Yeah, of course not. Those days of Buffalo Bills Stefon Diggs are far behind him.
And look, like I was trying to say earlier before it cut off, you see teams going a lot bigger and running the ball more. It's awesome to see because, again, years ago we were like, dude, they're passing like crazy. Like, what is happening? And then what you saw was these linebackers and stuff that were they were like tweeners, right? But they could run all over the field and they could also like rush. And how do you combat that? Is you put some more big guys on the offensive line or tight ends and you start running the ball at them, right? And now you got these guys that are number 1 draft picks and stuff like that, top tier draft picks that are freaks. But the one thing it's tough to do is stop it when you got a couple 300-pound men fucking flying at you. You know what I mean? Like, so the run game is back, and you're gonna see running backs back to being what they were years ago. I feel like.
Yeah, the position's so deep this year. When you look at it across the board. And everything that you're seeing is like Avery said, every team's going under center more, meaning they want to run it up the middle more. They want to run it, between the tackles. So it's I mean, that's the football we grew up on.
Defense is like run nickel. You know what I mean? And if you don't have that Cooper DeJean type that can take on a block. You know what I mean? You're susceptible to getting the ball run down your fucking face.
Well, you're seeing more of the cornerbacks that are getting drafted, that these are guys that are like legitimate tacklers now.
Yeah.
They're not strictly just man coverage guys, or, you know, these guys got to be physical and they have to be able to get, you know, stops.
I think we can all agree that nobody has a Cooper DeJean except for the Eagles. He's one of one.
Yeah.
Forever. On to another, I think another player making waves in camp, Jacoby Lane of the Baltimore Ravens. And this is mixed with another story of Zay Flowers getting paid. Zay Flowers' contract is $140 million, $108 guaranteed for 4 years. That's a lot of money. That's being paid like a top 6 wide receiver in the NFL. I don't know if that's what Zay Flowers is. I think I can easily name 10 wide receivers better than Zay Flowers. Did they overpay?
No. He deserves that.
He's a wide receiver 1. That's the market, you know.
Mm-hmm. He's a wide receiver 1. I mean, he's nominally the wide receiver 1 on the Ravens, but like, I don't put him in the same stratosphere as Chris Olave.
Do you see the Ravens spending an exorbitant amount of money on wide receiver in the next few years outside of Zay Flowers?
I wish they would. I guess
not. I know.
Not the Ravens.
We've been saying that for years.
Derrick Henry leaves.
We said that for years, right?
So that's the reason to overpay him. It's like, well, we can't find anything else, so let's just give you all the money.
I don't think it's about being able to find anything else. I think that the Ravens, the whole Lamar Jackson thing, is they draft guys that they feel like they can fit the system that they run with Lamar, and they don't feel like they got to go get a big-time wide receiver or spend big draft capital on that player. And Zay's their guy. You know what I mean? They're not going to spend
it. Lamar, while we're on the topic, Lamar, another quarterback, the big offseason news is we're going to put him more under center. So that's 4 that I can think of right there.
Yeah.
There's just so much under center movement.
That's going to be interesting.
The thing is, next offseason, you know, maybe 2 of them, not all of those are going to make those players better. So next offseason, 2 of those aren't going to work, or 3 of those aren't going to work. It's like, oh, we're putting him back in the shotgun. We're so excited, and that's going to be the story. Which is just
there's a big reason why
we all are.
There's a big. It's hard to play under center when you got to turn your back to the defense, and that's why a lot of players fail doing it. You know what I mean? It's not.
How do we see that Ravens offense going this year? Do you think Jacoby Lane will get in more than 70 targets?
Yeah, I think he will.
Rookie Jacoby Lane, 6'4", tallest guy, wide receiver on the Ravens, could be a nice little red zone threat, even though they have Derrick Henry. So that's like, he's kind of already got all the red zone stuff taken care of. So does Mark Andrews. Would you draft Jacoby Lane 10th round? Or, well, I mean, I think 15th round.
I mean, obviously depending on who's there, but yeah, I think he's worth the risk, because I think we had this conversation, you know, the other day, but his path to more playing time is pretty easy. I mean, Rashad Bateman is not a guy that is, you know, holding down that wide receiver, that second wide receiver spot. And if you're seeing a guy, Jacoby Lane, who's coming in there, and not only that, he complements Zay Flowers so well. He's 6'4", you know, he's going to help with those more physical catches, and he looks great in camp. I mean, outside of seeing that this guy is, you know, making the one-handed grab and all that stuff, but what they're seeing is that Lamar is showing early willingness to give this guy 50-50 balls. Notably saying that he trusts this guy as a rookie. So I'm extremely high on Jacoby Lane. I think that he easily can beat out Rashad Bateman.
Jacoby Lane or Stefon Diggs?
Diggs. I mean,
Jacoby Lane or Odell Beckham Jr.'s his resurgence in New York?
I'm going to take Lane.
Yeah, I'll take Lane too.
Oh, so everybody thinks OBJ's washed, because so do
everyone except for Dre. So I mean,
such nothing news. Yeah, such nothing news of Odell Beckham. Like, I can't believe there was even any excitement about him beating out the bums that are the wide receivers for the Giants. Not Neighbors, of course. He's not practicing, or whatever practicing he is doing off to the side. Him excluded. There's nobody else there for him to him beating out those people for a spot means nothing. I'm so surprised that made headlines.
I mean, it's great in football terms, but it's not in fantasy terms. It's irrelevant, right?
Did you see this?
I mean, to see the guy go back to the Giants and play and start potentially, and that's awesome. You know what I mean? You thought the guy's career was basically over.
He was a transcendent player too in the league.
I mean, he's going to be a starter in the NFL on a team that he
started. You don't know if he's going to be a starter, but if he's a starter on one of the worst teams in the NFL on a crappy offense that's doing nothing, you could be a starter on the Browns. You could be a starter on the Jets. Before this, I tried to bring up the Jets in the rundown. And Nick's like, I don't want to talk about the Jets. So, I don't think you'd be impressed if he was starter on the Jets, right? I'm not impressed if he's a starter on the Giants.
It's a good comeback story, dude. The dude went through a lot of injuries, and he's back. I fucking hate the Giants. I don't want to say this, but the number one story out of the Giants. Fantasy irrelevant. Fantasy irrelevant.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Giants are fantasy irrelevant?
No, this story is fantasy irrelevant.
Oh, well, I'm about to bring you a fantasy relevant Giants story. Are you ready?
You won't.
So apparently, Jackson Dart scored a touchdown and then threw a ball at one of the Giants players' faces. John Harbaugh took him off to the side and talked to him and gave him a 15-yard penalty for taunting. But Jackson Dart not having a great offseason. The guy is people I feel like everybody wanted to like Jackson Dart during his rookie season when he kind of busted out, and it was all because of his legs. He wasn't really being a quarterback. He was the equivalent of a pitcher who, Nick, you've heard this before, comes up out of the minors and has a hot streak. And it's well, nobody's ever seen him before. So sure, I'm glad because the players who are dominant usually dominate right away, but that doesn't really mean anything to his long-term career. That's how I felt about Jackson Dart last year is sure, he can run, and nobody's seen him before in the NFL. Defensive coordinators are not planning for him, and the Giants suck, so nobody really had to worry about, we just gave up a touchdown on the Giants. We'll just score real quick. They're probably losing anyway. Mm-hmm. Jackson Dart being a dick this year, not the opposite of a leader at quarterback. Is he the opposite? Mahomes, everything Mahomes does kind of screams leadership. Everybody likes it. Jackson Dart, just everything he does seems to be dude, shut up. We don't even want to see you that much. Well, I don't think he's going to have a successful season this year.
If you think of any coach in this league outside of maybe Andy Reid, I'm most confident in John Harbaugh being able to reel this guy in. And I don't, people are going to go, it's competitive fire. It's nah, he's just being an asshole.
Yeah, he's just a douche.
He's got to grow up. And, when I look back at what, transpired after, he threw the ball it was Greg Newsome. But Harbaugh right away assessed a 15-yard unsportsmanlike. They moved the ball 15 yards back, publicly reinforced the emotional control of the team. And, he wants to emphasize the emotional discipline, the situational awareness, playing through adversity, all those things that are very important as being a quarterback. So, I think this kid has the confidence and he plays with the confidence, but he's got to relax on the swagger part. You can try to create a name for yourself outside of football by using this platform, but you have to watch at what levels you take it to. And maybe sticking your nose in on certain situations in the locker room that maybe you shouldn't be there. Maybe you should be more of a help in that situation. I think that there's just a lot of immaturity with this guy, and I think he's not 100% a team guy at this moment. I think he's still trying to find his identity within the locker room. And of course, he had that issue in the beginning of the year, where he was back and forth with Abdul Carter. This is just stupid stuff that he needs to reel in. I'm confident in John Harbaugh. Hate the Giants, but I don't think this is going to be something that we're going to keep on seeing with Jackson Dart.
The things that you said were dad of the year type comments, and I agree. I just want to see Nick's face on that. But I'm gonna say I don't believe he'll mature. I think he's a little douche, and I think he thinks he's way better than he is. And that little spur of success that he had last year was the worst thing that could have ever happened to him. He needs to be humbled. He's going to be humbled, but because he had that early spurt of success, he's not going to take it well. So I think this is going to be like the flare out. Like after this season, we're going to be like, are the Giants even going to really keep him as a quarterback? Is he a franchise quarterback? I just don't believe, and this isn't even Giants hate. Like if the Giants had a good quarterback, I mean, I still like Jameis Winston. I would love it if Jameis Winston started for the Giants. That would be fun to watch. But I just think that Jackson Dart is a little annoying gnat, and he doesn't even understand that these are your teammates that you as the quarterback are supposed to be having people get behind you. You don't throw a ball in their face, and you haven't even been like, if a star player did that, star quarterback, like, it's so funny, Joe Burrow did that. It's kind of, whatever.
Right.
You're not that, bro. You're nowhere near that. Like, shut up and do your job and be humble, and then people will start to gravitate towards you, and then you can break out. I don't think he'll ever get to the point where he can break out, and I'm happy about it because.
Well, he's not the only rookie that's going to do, who deals with this idea that, he doesn't need to earn respect walking into a locker room, because they got treated so differently during the college days, and then when you have these NIL situations where you're transferring teams and you're kind of being welcomed with open arms. It's totally different in the NFL. You got to come in, you got to earn your keep. And I think that this right now, this offseason has been a very humbling moment for Jackson Dart. I think that throwing the ball at Newsome is more so of this competitive nature of him and more so of his, competitive nature mixing with immaturity.
We'll see. It's on the board. We'll see. I think after this year, We'll see what the fanfare.
I think they're in for a tough year regardless. So you got a whole new coaching staff in there. When you have that type of change, it's hard to come together in the first year. So I think he doesn't have a lot of weapons. Neighbors coming off an injury. We're talking about Odell Beckham starting. I mean,
Cam.
Yeah, I mean he doesn't have a lot of going for him heading into the season. So mixed with his immaturity and stuff like that, but he does have Jameis Winston, a guy who was there in his shoes before, and now he's loved.
Yeah,
he's loved, right? Because he's looked at now as a goof, but people know that he's a well respected guy. I think at this point in his career, I think Jameis Winston is loved across the league. So I think. In time, it could get to him. But I don't think, like, fantasy-wise, Jackson Dart is going to be don't expect a breakout year. Expect a sophomore slump.
Well, I love that you brought up Jameis Winston on that because he really is the guy who came in. He didn't demand respect from his locker room, the eating the W's and all that stuff. I hope that he's saying to Jackson Dart, don't wait as long as I did to grow up.
Right.
Get this sorted out and have a better NFL career than I did.
Well, remember Jameis said it great when Dart went and visited Trump that one time, and then they got him on the mic, and the way that Jameis handled it. I mean, like, if there's somebody that I want in my young immature quarterback's ear, it's a guy that's been there, done that before. I think Jameis is a perfect mentor for him. So I hope Jameis fucks up and says some shit, and Jackson Dart just continues to be a clown, and the Giants just, forever in purgatory. But yeah, I think that it's a good combo for his future.
All right, well, now I have to hear what that take was that you teased.
No, all right. I said something. We spoke about it. I said, yeah.
It was Omarion Hampton?
No, it was Drake London. I think that Drake.
That on the pod.
No, I didn't say on the pod. I said I believe that Drake London is not going to have that breakout year that a lot of people hope he's going to have. It's not because I don't think Drake London's a beast. I think Drake London's one of the best wide receivers in the league. I just think that team is going to be shit this year. They got two quarterbacks that can't stay healthy. They got they just lost one of their,
torn apart.
Yeah, their defense is just getting injured. I think that team is in for a rough year, and I wouldn't could Drake London finish as the 15th best wide receiver? Yeah, but what you're trying to get out of him, what you want out of him is a top 5 wide receiver, right? He has that abilities, but you're not going to get it this year on Atlanta's.
You're absolutely crazy. Drake London is about to have a top 5 wide receiver season. He's going to get over 160 targets. He's the only person. Him and Bijan are the only people on that entire team that deserve to do anything to get anything, and that's what's going to happen no matter who is quarterback. I don't care if it's Tua. I don't care if it's Penix Jr. I don't care if it's who they just signed that we wanted. The guy from the
Cooper Rush.
Yeah, it's Cooper Rush. There was some rookie quarterback that like undrafted guy they had in there. They were like, we need somebody else to get arms in here. I don't care who it is. Drake London's going to get 160 targets. He's going to get 15 red zone targets. He's going to destroy everyone. Drake London, over 1,400 yards, over 12 touchdowns, over 80 receptions. He's an absolute monster that cannot be stopped. And part of this is because they're going to suck so much. Like the defense, now that Walker's hurt, they don't know what's going on with Pierce. They're going to give up a lot of points. Their quarterback's going to make bad decisions to put their defense in a bad spot. They're going to throw picks. They're going to take sacks, whatever. And all that is going to lead to them having to score more. And they're going to throw, whenever they need to score, they're throwing it right to Drake London.
Yeah, I just can't. If you look at, last year, I mean, this guy was like top 5 in every metric, target share, first read dominance. Okay. This guy, 38% on first read. He's getting the first read 38% of the time. That's
who else you want to read first? Of course he's the
exactly.
First. It's either him or Bijan. Those are the first reads.
Yards per route run. He's 2.74. That's 6th. Red zone usage 37%. Targets
incredible.
per route run 30%. Yard share 29%. I mean, everything across the boards with that. And really, what are the best? What are the cases where he could disappoint? Well, they want to balance out more with Tyler Algier, so now that he's coming in and taking some touches away because they want to split the running game.
Are they going to start throwing? Are they going to start giving to Kyle Pitts? Are they going to start? No, right?
No, they're not. A great year last year.
Even
I know, but PJ wants it.
Not in the red zone. I mean, they might throw to him at midfield, but they're not going to throw it to him in the red zone. He has 0 target competition, really. And all right, Michael Penix is still developing, and he's, in my opinion, he's going to be their starting quarterback this year, not Tua, because Tua's a strong breeze away from CTE. And
he said he can't see over the offensive line. You can't start.
He did say
ever
that.
again.
He did say that was a ridiculous thing to say. Also, I mean, I know there's a bunch of Falcons fans who are watching, or maybe the 3 Falcons fans who are watching, who are like, Zachariah Branch. All right, cool. He's pretty good. He's a rookie. He's not touching Drake London. Drake London is going to get so many. He's just going to eat up those.
Well, and Zachariah Branch is a deep ball threat, which none of them can throw the ball deep. So,
right.
Yeah.
Like, didn't Tua also talk before about how he had a hard time hitting Tyreek Hill? Not that Zachariah Branch is Tyreek Hill fast, but he couldn't hit a burner.
Yeah.
I just think the Falcons are going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL. And,
definitely, and they will be.
You're not going to have a top 5 wide receiver on one of the worst teams in the NFL.
I don't know about that. You know who was a top 5 wide receiver for the last 9 weeks of the season on the worst team in the NFL? Michael Wilson, Arizona Cardinals. You know who was a top? I mean, he's a number 1 tight end. Trey McBride, Arizona Cardinals.
Tight end.
But wide receiver, tight end, like they're receivers. Yeah. These are people that you're throwing the ball to. Your team. Yeah. If your team sucks, that's good for you to have as a receiver. Like, they're going to be throwing the ball from the second quarter on. You're going to be down 2 scores.
Here we go,
Nick. Not going to be that much running.
Here we go, Nick. Calvin Johnson, 4-12 that year, was wide receiver 1.
Johnson.
All right. But I know. But here we go. Calvin Robinson.
Johnson, dude.
All right, I'm taking it a step down. Allen Robinson, he was 5-11. He was wide receiver 4 that year. Brandon Marshall was wide receiver. They were actually pretty decent. And 23, Garrett Wilson,
Chicago
7-2.
Hold on, Chicago Bears, that was the Bears you said? Brandon Marshall?
Yeah, no, they were good. They were good that year. They went 10-6 that year. I don't know why they brought that up. But yeah, Allen Robinson, Terry McLaurin had multiple
Robinson on the
seasons.
Bears with what? With who? Who was the quarterback? What year was that?
Allen Robinson on the Jaguars. 2015. Was that Blake Bortles?
Who was one of the best fantasy quarterbacks of the league that year?
Well,
right?
You could be a good fantasy quarterback. That's what we're talking about. We're saying fantasy wide receiver. You can be a productive fantasy asset in your team.
No. First you said Calvin Johnson, then you said Allen Robinson with Blake Bortles, but they were a fantasy relevant offense. So there's your answer to that. I don't see Penix or Tua doing shit for this team this year. Last year, if I'm not mistaken,
the Cardinals.
Penix completed 62% of his passes, right? I think that's what it was last year. Like, the dude's not fucking good.
You saw awful, yeah.
And he's going to get hurt. He always does. He's been hurt like 7 seasons of his life.
You know who's not good? Jacoby Brissett. You know who was the number 2 wide receiver the last 9 weeks of last season? Michael Wilson.
It's going to be Carson Beck this year, too. That's your hot take.
You think Carson Beck's going to take over? I mean, they just moderately paid Jacoby Brissett. They didn't pay him enough to not lose his spot. But
Carson Beck comes out in the Hall of Fame game. Another example,
Devontae Adams on the Raiders. They sucked. Devontae Adams, I think, led the league in touchdowns that year. Devontae Adams is fine. Like when receivers are that good, it doesn't matter. And Drake London is that tier of receiver. He's that good that it doesn't matter. He's going to have a great season. He's going to be wide receiver 1. He's going to be top 10, top 5. He's that guy.
I think Drake London's an amazing athlete. I just am so down on the Falcons right now. And I think that like a lot of those other teams that you mentioned and players that you mentioned, they had like they were kind of like by themselves. I mean, Michael Wilson, McBride, they did it together. I guess they were just airing out. But they do have Bijan, and Bijan's going to get his too. I don't think that the Atlanta Falcons are going to give us 2 top-tier offensive players this year. And I'm going to bet way bigger on Bijan being the 1.
It's going to be both. They're both going to be amazing. I'm lock that in. Put that on the board. Throw it on the board for Sariq.
Yeah, I mean, statistically and metric-wise, it's tough to support what you're saying, Nick, but hey, listen, it's possible. They are going to be that bad. So
yeah, no, I agree with you that the Falcons are going to suck. So that we agree on. Another good camp story. The 49ers playing next to the power station that is giant. Have you seen their camp pictures? Their trips to the training camp. Their training camp is like right next to like some kind of power station that looms large over everything, and it's all you can see. Like the players, the 49ers. The players are so small in the foreground, and these huge power stations. Like, and the conspiracy theory, Nick, you'll love this, that I've seen.
No, I've heard
that the power station is the reason that the 49ers players are always injured. And how much do you buy into this conspiracy theory? Nick is our resident conspiracy theory guy. Do you believe on this one?
It's got to be true.
Yeah, it's got to be true.
All those EMFs.
Nothing explains all those injuries like that.
It's insane.
No, it's the training staff is the problem in the 49ers franchise.
What? They're getting messed up by the power stations?
It's not the power station, all right? Bunch of fucking clowns with this stuff. I swear to God, people will say anything to just be like, nah, my team doesn't suck. We just got a power station at our training camp. Keeps tearing everyone's ACLs,
Well, the thing is, I mean, the 49ers had a crazy amount of injuries last year. They lost Fred Warner. They lost Kittle for a long time. Brandon Ayuk, whatever happened to him?
So Mike Evans, it's the carbon emissions that are killing them.
So Mike Evans just showed up, and like the training staff touched him, and like he just like his quad just like,
But I mean, their backup running back got cracked ribs somehow mysteriously, like nobody knows how. I mean, it was in a non-padded practice. That was ridiculous. Like the thing is, the 49ers, all that stuff happened. I was going to say, and last year they still like won 12 games and won a playoff game, and we're pretty close to a number 1 seed. So it doesn't really matter, I guess, unless, I mean, hopefully Shanahan's okay by the time the season starts. They're saying a lot of stuff about him. Like he can't even handle multiple people talking to him at once. He's having a hard time making decisions. I mean, as a head coach and the best play caller in the NFL, if he can't make decisions, you can't call plays without being able to make decisions.
Yeah, they're going.
It's actually kind of funny that I'm looking at right here, though, that the Niners actually debunked this because they brought in an independent scientist to monitor the EMF levels, which they found were below harmful thresholds, and the readings were lower than many everyday household sources. So
what does EMF even stand for?
Electromagnetic
frequencies? Ooh, is that it?
Fields. Electromagnetic fields.
I mean, people get injured in their houses every day, so that I don't know if that debunks it.
It's not because of the fucking microwave,
and they're not even
though.
Playing football. Yeah, but you won't stick your hand in it and turn it on.
It's the same shit with this fucking 5G and the fucking don't use cell phones. They're going to kill you.
They're going to turn the friggin' frogs gay. Isn't that?
It's like, nah, maybe we should stop eating McDonald's and fucking shit like that,
Yeah,
but no, that's what's killing Americans.
Well, it's not what's killing Ricky Pearsall. What's killing Ricky Pearsall is playing for the 49ers.
Yeah.
So to your point about the training staff, they did totally know about his PCL injury last year and didn't make him get surgery. So that is, they do seem to make bad decisions in addition to being right next to the most controversial power station in the history of the world. So I just
maybe that it's like a blue light for flies. It just attracts shitty training staffs. I don't know what to tell you.
That could be it. That could be it. I think if I were the GM of the 49ers, okay, whether it's a conspiracy or not, you would probably move the camp by now, right? Like you're the 49ers. You can practice wherever you want. Just move the camp. This is going to happen let's say next year, only 2 people get injured in their entire camp. It's still going to be a topic. At this point, it's like Jerry Jones with his fucking stadium in the sun. Just put the shades up, dickhead. Yeah. You have the shades. We've seen you use them. You're just not doing it because you're a stubborn old man. At this point, I don't know who the stubborn one is for the 49ers. I don't get a sense that John Lynch, the GM of the 49ers, is that kind of guy. He seems pretty forward thinking. Yeah. Not just competent, but just forward thinking kind of guy. I don't know why you wouldn't just move the camp. Just go somewhere else.
Just go back to the stadium. Yeah.
Oh no, John Lynch had a lot of fucking. He was in a lot of collisions over his time.
He was a big hitter. He was a big hitting safety.
Yeah,
he was a big guy.
Yeah. Maybe he's.
I don't know where he is at. Really. EMFs. You could go off the deep end like that.
They're influencing him too. The EMFs influence him more because he was the Ryan Clark of his day. I would say at safety.
That's fair.
He would.
It's all them hits though.
Some wood. Yeah,
they put you back out in the field in his day too.
Dude,
there was no concussion protocol.
Lynch was up there with the trio in terms of hitting power, like Dawkins, Palomalu, and fucking Reed. Lynch could be mentioned in that category.
Oh, for sure.
So was Ryan Clark. Ryan Clark was.
Oh yeah.
Ryan Clark was a beast. He put people in the hospital. They made a lot of the rules around not being able to leave with the head and having to go for this little part of the body are because of Ryan Clark. That guy was crazy.
We need Ryan Clark on here to make some crazy ass takes.
You think because ESPN fired him, he'll come here? We can get him to do a cameo?
Dude says some
$5 cameos.
He's got to chill with the R word though.
I would love to have Ryan Clark. Ryan Clark, if this somehow gets to you, I know it's not, but if it did, please hit me up.
Yeah.
Go to fsconcierge.com.
Yeah.
You'll see my email on there.
There it is.
acoleman@fsconcierge.com. Send me an email. We'll get you on the show anytime you want. Nick will take off work. We'll be fine. Any other so we got to a lot of camp today. Any other training camp stories that you guys want to bring up, want to talk about, think are relevant for fantasy this year? And we got to a lot of good stuff, a lot of good people, a lot of relevant players, and Odell Beckham Jr.
Odell
Beckham. I guess if you're looking at position battles, it looks like the Broncos running back situation is starting to, they're starting to create some space in between who's going to be the guy. It looks like RJ Harvey is starting to really solidify himself there. These are all certain things that you want to be monitoring with training camp because it's very important with your draft coming up here. So,
what's really weird about RJ Harvey is that I didn't have any RJ Harvey shares last year. Not that I was down on him, it just didn't happen. And when you have a player and you really hype on them, and even with the rest of the world is hype on them, the fantasy world, and then they let you down the way that he did last year, and you just hate them for the rest of their career. It doesn't matter. Yeah, I didn't have.
A lot of people feel that way with him. No, because he was way overranked in his ADP going into the year, just because he held that spot down.
Right.
And everyone was J.K. Dobbin, he's going to get hurt again, which he probably will this year. Yeah.
Yeah, they were right last year.
So it's understandable, for people. I don't think you got to completely, cancel him out, though, because he's a better option than a lot of guys, I would take RJ Harvey over Keaton Mitchell.
I'm going to say, how dare you?
Nah, I would.
RJ Harvey or Jonathan Brooks?
Oh, Jonathan Brooks is having a good camp, dude. Yeah. Jonathan Brooks is a pre-injury. That dude was
S-tier
2.0.
S-tier prospect. Mm-hmm. Yeah, S-tier prospect.
Yeah, I mean, like, if he can get anywhere.
It's such an unknown, though. Such an unknown.
So answer the question. RJ Harvey or Jonathan Brooks? Nick, first.
Well, if it's standard, I'm taking a shot on Jonathan Brooks for sure. Right?
It's PPR, because everybody has to play PPR.
Oh, well, then I'm going to say RJ Harvey. Jonathan Brooks too much of an unknown for me right now. But yeah, I'm going to say RJ Harvey or PPR easily.
I would say Jonathan Brooks, because I'm not drafting RJ Harvey, and I don't know what is the ADPs on them both. I'm assuming Jonathan Brooks is below Harvey right now.
Let's look it up.
I would draft Jonathan Brooks at closer to his ADP or higher than his ADP than I would draft Harvey. I just don't think I would draft Harvey.
They're right around each other. Potential ADP for 35 to 37 is for Harvey. Brooks is at 38.
Among running backs.
Among running backs, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think
so 9th and 10 round guys. Yeah.
I would take Brooks because he is the higher ceiling. I think he's the higher ceiling play. But you could take either one of them. They're around the same tier of player.
See, I think RJ Harvey has a higher ceiling there.
Dude, you have people like Chuba Hubbard and Rico Dowdle that make the most out of their time in the Carolina offense. And Jonathan Brooks is anywhere close to what he was before he got injured. His ceiling is much higher.
Yeah.
I mean, look what Rico Dowdle just did. You think that Jonathan Brooks can't have 200-yard games if Rico Dowdle can put him out there? Like,
I mean that's possible. Yeah, absolutely. But RJ Harvey also had games last year, not with 200 yards, but he had multiple touchdown games. Did he go quiet weeks after that? Yeah, he did.
And every week before that.
True, but Jonathan Brooks hasn't even fucking played.
No, that's fair.
In 2 years. So
no, I would say Jonathan Brooks has a talent ceiling, and RJ Harvey has the opportunity and offense ceiling, because RJ Harvey's
absolutely
offense is significantly better than the Panthers. It's just if I was to be able to guarantee that they each have the same amount of touches, like if they each got 16 touches a game, I would take Jonathan Brooks. But if it's based on what we know about them both, RJ Harvey might be it. I never got hurt by RJ Harvey, but I still have that feeling of like, I don't like him because he hurt so many people. I don't know if it's like,
well, I heard a lot of people when Jonathan Brooks got drafted when he was a rookie and then got hurt. And maybe in a keeper league, you kept him. He got fucking hurt again.
Well, what's really funny is I did get hurt by Jonathan Brooks. Yeah, I actually did get hurt by Jonathan Brooks. But for some reason, but this is the opposite side. Very odd feelings, because I am a kind of person that I'll hold a grudge against a player if they don't perform for me. But I don't have a grudge against Jonathan Brooks. I don't feel that way, and I do against RJ Harvey, even though I never had RJ Harvey, and I did have Jonathan Brooks like twice. So I don't get it.
It doesn't make any sense then.
My feelings are all wild. This
there you go. RJ Harvey, that's my answer. So.
Well, the thing, dude, the thing is, with RJ Harvey and his style of running, he's a pass catching back, right?
Yep.
He's not a give that guy a bunch of carries. And when you're in a game and you're trying to control the clock and stuff like that, he's just not the type of back that you use in those situations. So like, you're gonna have games, and if Denver's continues to be good, like, you're gonna have games where like it's just going to veer away from RJ Harvey. It's just like he's not part of the game plan right now. And that's where you're going to have games where he's just going to have bad weeks. You're going to have other games where you're going to need offense, and RJ Harvey is going to be a big piece of it. But that's what happens when you're a receiving running back. You don't give the other side to the game.
But if you're in an offense is in the position where they want to control the clock and control the game, how much real fantasy production's coming out of those plays or in that series of plays?
So then the offense as a whole isn't that fantasy. Like,
no, the Broncos are a good fantasy offense. I just
think what I'm saying is any team in general, if they are trying to control the clock, they have a lead and all that, and they want to run the clock out. They're running a very conservative offense.
Is RJ Harvey in the game?
I'm not saying, but I'm saying what real fantasy value comes in those series of plays. Just
I don't know
outside of touches.
He's saying it's going to be like 3 and out. Like you're essentially.
Yeah, well, I mean, even if you don't go 3 and out, it's going to be a short yardage, completion. Or I mean, really, that's a third down is really the only time you're going to have a fantasy situation, which RJ Harvey's on the field in that situation.
Well, if it's 3rd and 2, is he on the field?
Probably.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
The main problem with RJ Harvey, I think, Harvey is
on that point, is there situations of a game where RJ Harvey you don't put in because of what you're trying to do with the clock? Because of what you're trying to do with the clock, right? Well, okay, so that's just my point in why he'll have weeks, like as a whole, he could have a good season, but you might have a really good game, you might have a really weak game. And those are the worst types of players to play with, I feel like, because you just can't predict them sometimes.
It's tough,
I mean?
Yeah.
And they can really fuck you some weeks because, they just don't get any usage.
Okay. So I can understand where your upside's coming from here is Jonathan Brooks is more likely to be consistent over RJ Harvey.
Yeah. Well, all right. Yeah. And then he could just explode. He could fucking, if he's anywhere close to what he was, dude, he could fucking be a top 10 running back this year.
Well, that's wild, but sure.
Why not?
I would hurt because the Panthers' offense is trash, and I mean PJ went over all that when he talked about Ted McMillan.
I thought trash offenses can produce good fantasy players,
good wide receivers. Definitely. I said wide receivers. I didn't say anything about good running backs.
I said tight ends too.
Yeah, receivers, people who receive the ball, especially because a big part of that was they're going to be down, so they're going to be throwing. If you're a shitty offense, you're not going to be running the ball that much.
Jonathan Brooks can catch the ball.
Totally. But I got one more backfield to talk about that we've been hearing some stuff about early in camp is the New Orleans Saints backfield with Travis Etienne, formerly known as Etienne, and who is it? Alvin Kamara. So the talk out of camp is Alvin Kamara is not like we kind of thought at the end of last season and like when they signed Etienne that Alvin Kamara was being phased out. He'd retire. He'd go somewhere else. He'd figure something out. But no, it sounds like they're going to have them both, and it's going to be a timeshare. With that, do you think Travis Etienne has any chance of being a number one, like an RB1? I think that kind of went out the window if he's going to be in a legitimate timeshare where Kamara gets most third downs or most passing game work.
I think we talked about him before, right? I wasn't high on him. He doesn't get a lot of red zone looks. Not that Kamara is going to get, maybe I don't know who's going to get. I think that's going to be feel of the game, right? For that situation.
You don't want to you don't want any of them. You say neither of them on your roster.
Yeah, I wouldn't roster either of them. I don't believe they're not.
All right, now PJ with a good opinion. Tell me something that makes sense. Travis Etienne was great last year, and you were totally wrong because he had 1,400 yards and 11 touchdowns. But I think this year that's a big downgrade for him. Now that they're talking, I assumed that Alvin Kamara was going to kind of breeze off into the distance, and we weren't really going to hear that much from him. But it sounds like they're going to both get it. So I think that you can't draft Etienne thinking that he's going to be your RB1 in your team.
No, he can't.
RB2. And even then, he should probably be flex.
That's what I drafted him at in LOE is my RB2. And the reason why is because, first of all, 2025, his production was insane, though. But I like him in the this offense with Kellen Moore. And they described it as a 1-2 punch, which is not a 50-50 competition. I just want to make that clear. It's a 1-2 punch. It's a different situation. But the Saints have also emphasized that he is the primary runner. Kamara is going to be complimentary. And the reason why I bring up Kellen Moore is because he fits into that outside zone concepts. He's an explosive runner. And he threatens the defenses mainly with his speed. He's also got a lot of patience. He's got some start-stop ability, which really fits into that zone and gap schemes. My last point in all that was the 4-year, $52 million deal. You don't pay a guy like that if you're not going to use him. That's pretty much it.
Point.
I mean,
that's a fair point.
They paid him, in that upper echelon area as a running back, and he deserved it after what he did last year. I think there's no problem whatsoever for ATN to get HN, whatever we're calling him, to get 300
Who wants to be called HN?
300 touches this year.
I was going to say, did you get 300? I have been good at keeping it at HN and ATN just to make sure everybody knows who I'm talking about. It's not my fault this time. I fucked it up last time. I'm calling him Travis HN Etienne. Yeah, he had 312 opportunities last year, carries plus targets. So if he can get over 300, that would be really good. I just don't think he's getting over 300 opportunities.
I'm happy with 275 for my RB2 option with his explosiveness.
I'll be surprised if he got that. But if he did get that,
I think he does.
Also, the Saints have a fast-paced offense. Kellen Moore likes to run plays. He's going to run a lot of plays. He's going to be in the high 60s, which when you're talking about plays run by an offense, the average is around the 63 to 66 area. So if you're above 67, 68 is when you're running a lot of plays in a game. And that's where Kellen Moore likes to be, that 68, 69, 70 plays a game. So if you're doing that, and it could be like PJ says, and it could be 275 to 300 touches because there's going to be a lot more plays than your average team. All right, actual last thing. So we talked about backs. The LOE draft was this past weekend, and it was fire. It was the best one yet. We did have Creative Repute, our marketing website developer company, come and
shout out to Creative Repute.
Yeah, Niall Livingston, she's amazing. She did a great job. Also, shout out to Sierra Horsey. Is that how you pronounce it, producer? Literally Horsey. Her last name is Horsey. She's amazing. If you need somebody to take pictures for your event, hit her up.
Hell yeah.
And then also shout out Bodies by Ya. What a great studio. And Yane, what an amazing fantasy manager. She is essentially the third commissioner of the league to me and producer Reek. And her place was great. Had lots of fun. And the other room from where we were drafting was I think it was church on Sunday. So
yeah. And a daycare.
And a daycare was down there. So we were in good company, or were they in good company? Either way, it was great.
It was a great time.
My team's amazing. It's the best. I had the best core offensive starters in the league, so it went great in that instance. The craziest thing I think was, and this just goes to how amazing that producer Reek and I are at managing fantasy football leagues. Everybody go to fsconcierge.com. That's what we do, and we're great at it. We have 2 new league managers this year in our league. It's a 12-team league. And we have been on them, making sure, hey, you're still cool, right? We have kind of a complicated league. There's a couple different rules. We have some fun. And they were all like, yeah, we're in. Last minute, one of them at the beach, totally forgot about the draft. Other one, scared, I think. We're just kind of literally freaked himself out. Was like, I just can't do it. I don't know about this auction thing anymore. I'm terrified. It just quit. And literally an hour for the draft, me and Reek calmly, Reek a little more calmer than me, just went out about our business, contacted the beach person, and to her credit, got on, did a draft at the beach. I think it might have been her first auction draft. She didn't spend enough money. These 2 owners that were new went in the opposite direction. So we also, Bodies by Ya, Yane was amazing, hooked us up, got another owner. So we got a third new person after one of the 2 quit. And he, to his credit, did the draft for about 5 minutes, spent way too much money, went all in on $40+ on Josh Allen, 70 on Bijan, high 60s to 70 on Jamar Chase. And then
that was it.
7 tight ends. In our league, you don't even have to start a tight end in our league. We have a wide receiver / tight end spot. This guy let the computer draft 7 tight ends for him because he only had $20 left, $21 left of the 200. Add 3 picks into the draft. It was hilarious. And then the beach drafter went the other way. She didn't spend any money and then drafted, while I love her, all Eagles players. Her team is 65, 70% Eagles. So I got to say, with my projections for Eagles players, she's probably going to kill it. But I hope me and producer Reek haven't worked on the schedule yet. We're going to randomize it. Mostly we're going to make a rivalry week, and then we're going to kind of build around that randomly. Hopefully I play her week 10. because she will have no one to play. But again, great weekend. We had 2 new drafters. They both went the complete opposite direction of what new auction players do. I think they learned their lesson. They're gonna have to do a lot of trades. PJ, I think you had a great team. You had a great draft. Producer Reek had a great draft. Everybody who came back, I think, felt good about the draft. Another positive note for auction leagues. Please do auction leagues. Also, go to fsconcierge.com if you love that recap, because we can make your draft touches great. PJ, what were your thoughts?
I loved, one of my favorite days of the year. The setup that we have, it's a credit to Reek and Avery. They're able to solve issues as they come along, which was a big reason why they wanted to, Avery came with the idea of doing this Fantasy Sports Concierge. So, and that's like a main thing that commissioners really struggle with is issues, because it's never a season in which you could just go straight through without running into issues. And so, get rid of that problem in your league and have an even better setup with Fantasy Sports Concierge. But yeah, great draft for you. My team's better though. Reek, great draft, man. Great draft, but my team's better. And, I can't wait to win the championship this year. I can't wait to hold up the belt. Maybe eliminate Avery in the playoffs like I did last year. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Not again.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
All right. If you're still here, thank you. Be on the lookout. We are going to put out that footage. We're working on cutting it up. We had to push the draft back a couple times, and Niall was there pretty early, creative repute. So we got a lot of footage to go through, but hold on with us. We're going to get out some cool stuff so you guys can see how auction drafts work. You don't have to be scared like that guy who quit at the last minute because he was scared of our league. But also, go to fsconcierge.com. We can manage your league. You don't have to worry about anything. Just worry about your team. We'll make it really fun. You'll have a great community. Check us out on the socials. Like, subscribe to this video wherever you're watching it. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. This meeting is adjourned. We will not be putting out any notes. Thank you, peoples.
Thanks for stopping by. Visit fsconcierge.com.